Om Shanti. Today is 23rd July 2023 and we shall listen to the Avyakta versions of Avyakta Bapdada. These Avyakta versions were spoken by Avyakta Bapdada on 16th March 1995. The title for today's Murli is The Sign of Souls Who Are Full of All Attainments is that they are content and happy. Today, Bap Dada, the one who enables you to attain all attainments, is seeing his children everywhere who are full of all attainments. You are the children of the full and perfect Father, the bestower of all attainments. So today, Baba is seeing all his children everywhere who are full of all attainments. And so, Baba has given each child the inheritance of all attainments. Baba has not made a difference in giving. Baba has given each child the inheritance of all attainments. It is not that he has given someone 10% or someone else 20%. He has given all the children the right to all attainments. All the children have a right to the full inheritance. Baba says the children also have the right to full inheritance. So Bap Dada is saying to what extent every child who has a right to all attainments has claimed that right. So Baba is saying that when each child has received full inheritance, then to what extent every child has a right to all attainment and has claimed that right. The Father has given everything. The Father is called the Almighty Authority, the one with all powers and the full ocean. However, to what extent have you children made all of those attainments your own? Baba has given everyone full inheritance. So, how much have we claimed the right to all those attainments and how much we have made them our own? When you make the inheritance given by the Father belong to you, you have the intoxication and happiness that they are your treasures to the extent that you make them your own. Baba says, the more you make those treasures your own, Baba says, accordingly, you have the intoxication and happiness that you experience. They are given by the Father, but you have made them your own by imbibing them. How have we made those treasures and attainments our own? It is by imbibing them. So, what did Bap Dada see? That you become number wise in making them your own. Baba has given the full right to all attainments, but Baba says the more you are able to make them your own by imbibing it, accordingly you become number wise. The Father has not created numbers, but instilling them in yourself according to your own capacity has made you number wise. And what are the signs of souls who have all rights and are full of all attainments? Who stay in the intoxication and experience of all attainments from Amrit Vela until night time. So, what are the signs of those souls who stay in the intoxication and experience of all attainments from Amrit Vela until night time. The sign of having attainments is contentment. Such souls are constantly jewels of contentment and spread the sparkle of vibrations of contentment to others. So, the sign of those souls who have claimed all the rights to all attainments and who experience the intoxication of the attainments from Amrit Villa until night is contentment. And Baba says that such souls are constantly jewels of contentment and they spread the sparkle and vibrations of contentment to others as well. Their faces will be constantly happy. That is, in Hindi, prasanna chit. To be happy means to be free from all types of questions. So Baba is rhyming the words prasanna chit and prashna chit. Prasanna chit means to be happy and prashna chit means to be in questions. So to be happy means to be free from all types of questions. They will not have any questions. They will be happy. Why? What? How? All these questions have finished. For them, as if they are full of all attainments, so they are in that contented stage. So Baba says there is no questions from there. There is no questions for them. Why, what, how? All these questions have finished. So have you become happy to this extent, or do you still sometimes have some questions? When a person is under the questions, the influence of questions of how, why, what, then naturally for that time, until they get the answer, their happiness is lost. That intoxication is gone. So Baba says, so have you become happy to this extent? Or do you still sometimes have some questions? What is this? Why is this like that? How will this happen? When will it happen? Do these questions arise, whether in your own mind or through others? Are you an embodiment of questions or an embodiment of happiness? Or are you sometimes an embodiment of questions and sometimes an embodiment of contentment? What are you? Generally, Baba says, generally it is remembered that nothing is lacking in the treasure store of Brahmins. Whose praise is this? Which Brahmins does this praise belong to? Does it belong to you? Or of those who are yet to come? You are this. Baba says, this is said for the Brahmins who are here. That nothing is lacking in the treasure store of Brahmins. So Baba says, you are this. So when there is a lack of attainment, this lack of attainment is the reason for discontentment. Look at your own experience. Whenever your mind is discontented, what is the reason for that? It is because you feel a lack of something or other that you feel discontented. There is the praise that nothing is lacking. Is this the praise of the present time or of the time of destruction? Will you become complete at the time of destruction, or are you going to become complete now? Baba is asking, and together with asking, is giving us a deep realization as well. So Baba says, will you become complete at the time of destruction, or are you going to become complete now? Those of you who think that you remain constantly satisfied, that no matter whether in relation to you or to others, you do not have any questions, that you are always contented. How many such souls? Baba says, how many such contented souls would there be? How many such souls would there be who are fully contented? There are many. Acha, Baba says, those who think that you are always contented, no matter how much Maya makes you fluctuate, you will not fluctuate but will make Maya fluctuate. That Maya may salute you, that you are Angad, that Maya may be defeated and you are victorious. Those who feel like this, raise your hands. Those who are always contented and who feel as if Maya may be defeated and you are victorious, Baba says, those who feel like this, raise your hands. Always remember the word constantly. Constantly contented, no matter what. You are not those who are like this only sometimes. There are very few of you. There are only a few out of multi-millions. Not many raise their hands. So Baba says, you are very few and few out of multi-millions. However, there are question marks, are they not? The question mark should be removed from your dictionary. Baba says now there should be no question marks in the dictionary of Brahmins. Let there not be any fluctuation. When you use a computer, this comes up, does it not? Whatever you want to delete it completely, just hit a button and everything is deleted. So Baba says, when you use a computer, this comes up, does it not? Whenever you use the computer of your intellect, it should always be able to put a full stop. Let the symbols of a question mark and an exclamation mark finish for all time. This is known as being constantly happy. This is what is called as constantly happy. Those who are happy in this way will finish the question marks of others. Otherwise, if there are question marks in yourself, then whenever you hear something or see something, you would say, this should not happen, but it does happen. I do think that this should not happen. In this way, you mix in others. So, such waste thoughts, Baba says, when they are created, that means you get mixed with others who have question marks. This makes you underline their questions. You give them your support, and then you say, this is not right, but it does happen. So you did not make the other person happy. Baba says you did not finish their questions and make them happy, contented, but instead you also became one of them. And this is how you give them a support. So you did not make the other person happy, but you actually increased their questions. You added to them. It was a question of only one person, and it then became questions of two. Then from two, it becomes questions of four people. So the vibrations of having questions spread much more quickly. Whenever anyone has questions in their mind, these vibrations, Baba says, they spread much more quickly than the vibrations of being happy. You say, yes, it is like this. So you give others your support in this way. You use an exclamation mark. Therefore, this is not a full stop. When it is for yourself, I should not be doing this. I should receive this. Others should not have this. This wanting fills you with questions and doesn't allow you to remain happy. Baba says either you are influenced by the question of others, or either there is this feeling of wanting, and the wanting fills you with questions and doesn't allow you to remain happy. So, what is everyone's aim? To be contented and happy. This is the aim of all Brahmins. The speed of wastage in the mind and intellect of those who are contented will not be fast. Their speed of thoughts and intellect will be very calm and slow. So Baba says the sign of those who are contented and have no questions, the speed of wastage in their mind and intellect of those who are contented will not be fast. They will be constantly gentle and humble. They will be constantly gentle and humble. Because of being humble, they will give everyone the coolness of the shade of happiness and contentment. So, because they are humble, Baba says they will give everyone the coolness of the shade of happiness and contentment. No matter how much they are burning like a fire, no matter how much they are burning like a fire, or how hot someone's temper may be, they will become cool under the vibrations of happiness. Their anger, their heat will just vanish away and they will become cool under the vibrations of happiness. What is the weakness that comes up? What is the reason for not being contented? Some or the other weakness is coming up. So Baba says, generally, you move along very well on your own. You move along very well. But when you get into relationships and connections with others, then by seeing, hearing, and speaking of the weaknesses of others, you come under their influence. So, this is the weakness that brings you into questions and makes you feel discontented. That when you come into relationships and connections with others, then by seeing, hearing, and speaking of the weaknesses of others, you come under their influence. You then say, this one did this, and that was why I also did it. This one said this, and so I also said this. That one said this 50 times, but I only said it once. Then you put then you put very sweet words in front of the Father. Baba says, then you put very sweet words in front of the Father. What are those words? You say, Baba, at least you should understand a little. To what extent am I going to have to tolerate all of that? We are still effort makers. And so we will feel a little, will we not? Hmm? We are still effort makers, and so will feel a little, will we not? You begin to explain to the Father in this way. You tell many stories of those who are instruments here. It was like this, it was like that. You turn the rosary off, it was like this and it was like that. So Baba says you explain to the Father also, and you tell many stories to those who are instrument, the dadis. Bap Dada is constantly giving the signal that you have to speak of such things briefly. Do not go into much of the expansion. But Baba says you have to be very brief in mentioning whatever is happening in just a few words and not give long explanations. Wasteful things are very spicy. Baba says wasteful things are very spicy. They are very entertaining. Just as in food too, you like sweet and sour food very much. However, if it is bland, if it is simple, you say, we eat this all the time anyway. So, while moving along, your interest in listening, speaking, and doing wasteful things, because they are spicy, Baba says, as you are moving along, your interest in listening, speaking, and doing wasteful things and wasteful thoughts increase. And then you think, what do you think? I did not want to. I did not want to, but they wanted to tell me. So I said, okay. I did not want to listen, but they wanted to tell me. So I said, okay, let me listen to them so that their hearts become empty. Baba says, you say, actually, listening to all waste is very spicy. So Baba says, then you come under the influence and you say, I did not want to, but they wanted to tell me. So I said, okay, let me listen to them so that their hearts become empty of it. And Baba says, that one's heart became empty, but you filled your heart with all the waste. By repeatedly filling your heart a little, you create a sanskar. Then, when you have this sanskar, you don't even realize what is wrong. Baba says, once you develop this sanskar of listening and speaking to all the waste, you don't even realize that it is wrong. This wasteful sanskar finishes the judgment power of your intellect. Therefore, the easiest way to remain constantly content is constantly to keep one special attainment or other in front of you. So, Baba wants us to always be the embodiment of all attainments. So, Baba says, keep those attainments, special attainments in front of you. Then you will not come under the influence of the waste of others. So, Baba says, therefore, the easiest way, Baba is showing the method, the easiest way to remain constantly content is constantly keep one special attainment or other in front of you. Because you never forget any attainments. You may forget points of knowledge, but you cannot forget your attainments. What have you received from the Father? How much have you received from the Father? You like variety, do you not? You do not like the same thing all the time. So look at your attainments. How much attainment of the treasures of this knowledge do you have? How many powers have you attained by doing yoga? How many attainments of the divine virtues do you have? Baba says, how many, how much attainment of the treasures of this knowledge do you have? Look at the attainments. How many powers do you have by doing yoga? Have you attained by doing yoga? And how many attainments of the divine virtues do you have? How many attainments for practically maintaining that intoxication and happiness do you have? Baba says, check. How many attainments? Look at your attainments. How many attainments of the treasures of this knowledge do you have? How many powers have you attained by doing yoga? How many attainments of the divine virtues do you have? And how many attainments for practically maintaining that intoxication and happiness do you have? It is a long list, is it not? You were also told earlier that you have to remain content by keeping the attainment of any one virtue in front of you. This is because when you adopt even one virtue, it is just like how the vices have a very deep relationship with one another. Baba is giving an example. Externally, when you have anger, then along with anger, if you check internally, there would also be greed and arrogance within yourself. Whenever that arrogance is threatened, that I is threatened, then there is anger. So they are all deeply connected. So Baba says they are all one another's companions. Some have emerged and some are merged. So too, the virtues have a connection with one another. Just as the vices have a connection with one another, similarly, the virtues also have a connection with one another. You might keep one virtue in an emerged form, but other virtues would also be merged within that one. So, every day, definitely experience being an embodiment of one attainment or another. When you have the attainment in an emerged form, the lack of attainment will finish. Hmm? The lack of attainment will finish and you will remain constantly contented. In fact, Baba says, in fact, in the world as well, what is the main attainment that everyone wants? What is the attainment that everyone wants? First, everyone desires to attain a good name for himself. Secondly, regard. And thirdly, honor. These are the three things which everyone wants in the world. Everyone desires to attain a good name for himself. Second, regard from everyone. And third, honor. As in Hindi it is said, Naam, Man, and Shan. So they want to attain name, regard, and honor. What do you wish for? In the world, people want these three things. So Baba is asking the children, what do you wish for? You also want this, do you not? Not of anything limited, but of the unlimited. People of the world chase a limited name, They run after receiving that name. However, look at your own name. Does anyone else in the world have such an elevated name as yours? So look at your own name. The main speciality of your name is who is chanting your name? God Himself. God Himself is chanting our name. So elevated our name is. So the main speciality of your name is who is chanting your name? God Himself is chanting your name. So, what could be a greater name than this? Even now, in your last birth, many souls are creating their livelihood with your name. You are Brahmins, are you not? So, even with the name Brahmins, those who are Brahmins in name are also earning so much even today. Even now, those who are only Brahmins in name are considered to be so elevated. There is so much praise for your name. Your name has become so elevated, and this is why you must not chase after any limited name. No one ever mentions my name for anything. Sometimes they have this thought, no one ever mentions my name for anything. My name is always last. I'm the one who does all the service, and the names of others are mentioned. So, do not chase after a limited name. Your name is constantly elevated in Baba's heart. Baba says, don't run after your name because your name is constantly elevated in Baba's heart. Since your name is in the Father's heart, what does it matter if your name is not mentioned? Baba says, since your name is in the Father's heart, what does it matter if your name is not mentioned in any service or any program or anything? So Baba says, when it is in the Father's heart, what does it matter if your name is not mentioned in any service or any program or anything? It is in the Father's heart. On the path of devotion, they show an image of Hanuman. Whom did he have in his heart? This memorial is there. He had Rama. However, what is in the Father's heart? The children. So you are the children, are you not? All of you are included. Have you seen this? Are you sure? What if it is sometimes missed out? The names of all of you are mentioned. So, why do you chase after others' name? Baba says, so why do you chase after other names? Because for the majority, it is name, regard, and honor that makes you fall, and it is also the same thing that increases your intoxication. Name, regard, and honor, when we chase them, it makes you fall, and it is also the same thing that increases your intoxication. So, look at it in terms of attainment. If, for instance, your name is incognito for some reason, but you think that your name should be glorified, it is right that your name should be glorified. But because of some karmic account or the sanskars of other soul, your name is not glorified. You may be right and the other person wrong, and yet the other person's name is still glorified, whereas yours is not. Then your name is fixed in the rosary of victory. The rosary of victory, those jewels are incognito. So Baba says, if your name is incognito and if it is not glorified, then your name is fixed in the rosary of victory. Therefore, do not be concerned about that. Maya comes in this form a lot more. My name, my name, my name. So Baba says, Maya comes in this form a lot more. Therefore, now, even if your name is missed out by mistake, even if your name is missed out by mistake, it does not matter because your name cannot be missed from the rosary of victory. First will be your name. So remember the praise of your name, that your name is in the Father's heart and in the rosary of victory. That is your name. That your name is doing service till the end. So that is, Baba says, that your name is constantly in the Father's heart, is in the rosary of victory, and it is still doing service until now. Then the second thing, how much regard do you receive? Even God has kept you ahead of Himself. Children first. So the Father Himself has given you so much regard. You have received so much regard, and the proof of that is that even your non living images are praised so much, even in this last birth. Knowingly or unknowingly, people look at the images of the deities with so much regard. Even now, they have the most elevated regard for your images. This is your proof. Since your images are so worthy of regard and worthy of worship, the one you give regard is also considered to be worthy of worship. Baba says, since your images are so worthy of regard and worthy of worship, the one you give regard to is also considered to be worthy of worship. They always say, this one is worthy to be worshipped by us, one who is worthy of worship. So, your practical proof is that people have so much regard for your images, and it is because of this regard for your living forms that they give it to your images. If your living forms did not receive regard, how could the images receive it? The Father always says, children first. Children are doubly worshipped, whereas the Father is worshipped in only a single way. Therefore, your regard is greater than the regard for the Father. Baba is feeling so much of intoxication in the children. So Baba says, therefore, your regard is greater than the regard for the Father. So you have received such elevated regard. Whenever any limited aspect of regard arises, then think, what would regard from souls do? When I received regard from the Supreme Soul. Do not think I do so much and still no one gives me regard or ask me about anything. It is wasteful to think in that way. Baba says it is wasteful to think in that way. Anything limited that you chase after is like a shadow. Whenever you try to catch hold of a shadow, you are able to catch it, or does it run further away. Now, Baba says, whenever you try to catch hold of a shadow, are you able to catch it or does it run further away? Limited name and regard are like shadows. They are visible under the sun of Maya, but they are in fact nothing. So you have received name, you have received regard, and look how much honor is given to you. Remember how much honor you have received and who has made you sit so honorably? The Father. You are seated on the heart throne of the Father. The greatest honor of all is the ruling status. So you have received a throne and a crown, have you not? You are seated on the heart throne of the Supreme Soul. And so, what could be a greater honor? Sometimes you make a small mistake when making a decision. Real honor, spiritual honor, would never allow you to feel insulted. It would not give you any kind of feeling of insult. So, what do you sometimes do? Actually, it is arrogance. But you think that you have to maintain your honor, that you have to maintain that much honor at least. It is good to maintain your honor, but check very well whether it is your honor or your arrogance. Sometimes arrogance gets mixed with that feeling of being honored. Sometimes you consider your arrogance to be your honor, but you are not then able to be humble. So, the first sign, whether it is arrogance or honor, is that you cannot be humble. The sign of arrogance is that you might consider your honor to be real, whereas others consider it to be arrogance. And so, whenever someone says something, you would feel insulted. Wherever there is arrogance, the feeling of being insulted is very fast. So Baba says, you may consider that it is your honor, whereas other may consider it to be your arrogance. And so, whenever someone says something, you would feel insulted. Those who have arrogance will very quickly feel an insult. Even when someone says something jokingly, they will feel insulted. This is a sign of arrogance. They would think, no, I am like that. They should not say that. So make an accurate decision. At that time, you create a weakness in making the right decision. Instead of being accurate, it becomes mixed. And yet you consider it to be accurate. Generally, it is said, this one is very good, but his way of speaking, sitting, walking, etc., seems very arrogant. Even when someone says this, there is a feeling of being insulted. So also check the difference between self respect and arrogance, Swaman and Abhiman. So Baba says, check the difference between self respect and arrogance. Therefore, constantly keep this emerged how great your self respect and honor are. Constantly keep this unlimited name, regard, and honor emerged. Do not let it become merged, but keep it emerged. There is something carelessness about having remembrance. I belong to the Father anyway, but I don't need to remember Him. Sometimes there is this carelessness about having remembrance. And what do children say? I belong to the Father anyway. So I don't need to remember him. However, when the thought is immersed, you are able to experience attainment. In the same way, remain alert in every aspect of dharana. Baba says, remain alert in every aspect of dharana. Do not be careless because time is coming close. And what notice is the time giving you? What signal is the time giving you to become equal and to become perfect? Therefore, look at the challenge of time and become full with all attainments. Acha, to the souls in all four directions who are constant embodiments of all attainments. To the souls in all four directions who are constant embodiments of all attainments, to the elevated souls who constantly remain content and satisfied, to the closed souls who constantly experience themselves to have a right to the elevated name, regard, and honor. To the satisfied souls who give everyone the light and might of the vibrations of contentment, Bap Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste. Bap Dada's blessing for us all children today is, may you be an embodiment of remembrance and power and experience yourself to be full at every second and constantly safe. I repeat, may you be an embodiment of remembrance and power and experience yourself to be full at every second and constantly safe. Constantly keep yourself full with the treasures you have received from Bap Dada at the confluence age. Because you are full, nothing else can enter you. You cannot say that you do not have any power of tolerance or power of silence, that you have a little anger or forcefulness. An enemy is forceful when you are careless or you haven't applied a double lock. So, apply the double lock of remembrance and service. Become an embodiment of remembrance, and you will be powerful and stay constant safe. Today's slogan is, in order to construct the new world, make your stage humble and constructive. In order to construct the new world, make your stage humble and constructive. Acha, Om Shanti.